my screen. Hello, Noor. All right, welcome everyone. Good evening. I hope you all had a great dinner. First of all, allow me to thank you for taking this time to log in our webinar on GetReadySG, Microsoft SGUP-CT program information session. So just to let you know, there's a webinar format. So even if we do not see your faces, we can see your presence here in your chat. So if you have questions, okay, hello, good evening, Sabrina. Just click on the Q&A button and just type your questions in, and we will have a time for Q&A later. Okay, so this session will be recorded, and we'll also be sharing you the slides. All right, next slide. All right, so for today's session, for the next hour, we'll have, I'll just share a few introduction about who we are. Let me also introduce you to my team. So my name is Leslie. I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Lead in Generation Singapore. And I have here my wonderful teammates, Hui Shen. She's an operations lead. Say hi, Hui Shen. All right, and then Hadija, also our marketing and recruitment associate manager. So some of you may be sending emails, asking queries. So that's our lovely Hadija answering your question. So then Hadija will walk you through later about the details of the program. And after that, we'll have a reality talk portion. So it's not just us talking the entire time. You will hear from our panelists, and we'll have a Q&A in the end. All right, next slide. Just a quick introduction about who we are. So you might be thinking, who is Generation? Are you a training provider? Are you an employment agency? Are you a recruitment agency? So just give you a quick background. So we are an independent global nonprofit founded way back in 2014. And we work in the space from education to employment, and we have work across the globe. So in Singapore, we came to the market in support of SSG. And our main mission is this: to empower unemployed individuals through reskilling and supporting them into life-changing careers that would otherwise be inaccessible. So currently we're now live in 16 different countries. And with you joining the program, you'll also be part of the global generation community. So like I mentioned, in Singapore, we started about 2.5 years ago. We partnered with SkillsFuture to run and place WS Cert and SGS program like digital marketing, software development, and in institution partners like Temasek Poly. All right, so, okay, next slide. Okay, so I'll run through, excuse me, I'll run through this quick methodology about generation. Okay, so we have been around for 7 years globally, and recently, excuse me, we have seen an increase in the demand of starting tech programs globally. And that what really sets us apart is that this 7-step methodology or impact model of generation. So way back in the beginning, we have interviewed employer partners like industry experts to gather their input even before building the curriculum. And second here, we recruit people from a range of channels who are currently facing a barrier into employment, and we evaluate applicants. So hopefully that will be you guys, based on your technical readiness, your motivation to launch a career. And you'll also be able to see the application steps, and you'll see how comprehensive it is. And then we deliver a practice-based curriculum, which trains the technical skills, behaviors, and mindset for the role. So for our learners in this program, we'll go through a 9-month journey with us, and Hadija will share more on that later. And then after completing a bootcamp of the programs, employers will be able to interview or hire the graduates, and that drives value to the employer and delivering a transformative impact on the learners. And we will also offer social support and mentorship to ensure graduates continue to perform at their best during and after the program. And then you'll be part of the Global Generation Alumni Community, as mentioned, where we encourage you to work with your peers and your cohort mates to support you, and also be able to seek additional support from your mentors who are working in the industry. And the last 2 steps, just return on investment and data, which is the focus of everything that we do. So that's overall the 7-step methodology and the impact model that applies to all our programs, which is very unique and innovative in the market currently. Next slide. Okay, let's do a quick poll. Let's make it a bit engaging. All right, so let's do the poll. So which sentence do you identify the most? I'm interested in reskilling and upskilling. Or you're considering all your options? Are you ready to get a full-time job in tech? Maybe I'll give you 30 seconds. All right, let's see the results. Oh, okay. About half, 44% interested in reskilling and upskilling. Awesome. 25% of you says you're considering all your other options. Oh, wow. And we have 31%. You're ready to get a full-time job in tech. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, next slide. All right, so now I'll pass the time to my teammate, Hadija. She will walk you through the details of the GetReadySG programs. Over to you, Hadija.
Thanks, Leslie, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Hadija, and I'll take you through the first section of today's information session. I'll introduce the programs and the roles that will help you launch a career in tech, even if you don't have any prior experience. So what is GetReadySG? GetReadySG is a national skills initiative co-created by Microsoft and Generation Singapore in partnership with IMDA, Skills Future Singapore, and Temasek Polytechnic. So the initiative hopes to upskill up to 1,000 job seekers over a 2-year period and also match them with meaningful employment opportunities in technology. So here's a video of our Generation Singapore CEO introducing the GetReadySG initiative.
GetReadySG is actually an initiative that Microsoft and Generation came together with the government of Singapore to help Singaporeans with no or minimal tech background to get into tech careers. One, extensive involvement of employers. Number two, the learning, design, and experience. And number three, the wraparound support and mentorship that is provided throughout. 70% of the learning that happens in GetReadySG is practical. You're not really listening to just lectures that's coming in through your instructor, but actually practicing in small groups in real-life situations that we will try and simulate. And these are inspired by actual observations and inputs that we have gotten from companies. All this ensures that you will learn to learn. We have learners from really diverse backgrounds. Most of them don't have a technology background. Either they are university graduates in non-technology disciplines, have been working in different sectors, and now because of COVID, they've either lost their job or they've voluntarily decided to make a transition into technology because they see an opportunity. The big thing that we're looking for when we select someone to become a GetReadySG learner is, are you really motivated to make the career transition? The journey is not going to be easy, but you have help along the way. Our aim is to help you get into a good tech jobs. It's not just upskilling, not just reskilling, to make sure that you are successful in the job that you're going to get into.
So the SGUP-CT programs that we're highlighting this evening are part of the GetReadySG initiative. So if this is the first time you've heard the acronym SGUP-CT, it stands for SG United Mid-Career Pathways Program Company Training. So these are skills future programs that are designed for job seekers and mid-career professionals who are looking to gain in-demand digital skills and enter a career in the fast-growing technology sector. So the 3 programs that we offer are Junior Full Stack Developer, Cloud Support and DevOps, and Business Intelligence and Data Analyst. So for today's session, we'll focus on the Junior Full Stack Developer and Cloud Support and DevOps programs. So what kind of job roles are available after you complete these programs? There are 3 general roles: Junior Full Stack Developer, Cloud Support and DevOps Engineer, and Junior Data Engineer. So each program will train you for an entry-level position in any of these broad roles. Now, often on job search platforms, the job titles aren't an exact match, but with a lot of tech roles, it's more about the skill sets and really paying attention to the job description than the exact job title. So let's spend a little time and take a little closer look at each role. We'll start with Junior Full Stack Developer. So essentially, the responsibility of any full stack developer is to write code, to design and implement software. So whether that's web-based or for an application. So as a full stack developer, you'll work on the front end, which is the client facing side of the software, and on the back end, which is the side of the software that customers never see, but other developers will. So a junior full stack developer will also work on things like documenting code, discussing product requirements with clients and product teams, as well as spend time daily fixing bugs and errors or adding features to the company's software. As for cloud support and DevOps, you'll take the code that's written by full stack developers and you'll do something that's called deployment. So it's your job to ensure that everything goes off without a hitch and that the customers are always able to see and interact with the software. So you'll do a lot of the managing and maintenance of the tools that are used by other developers. You'll mostly be working on product teams and with other internal stakeholders. So this is for junior data engineer. I'll let you read this. Now you can see that the expected starting salary range for all these entry-level roles are between about 3,000 to 4,500 Singapore dollars per month. Okay, so now that you've heard about these roles, either you'll know exactly which role interests you or you'll be wondering what role suits you best. So if you visit the link that's shown on the screen, and like Leslie mentioned earlier, you will be getting a copy of these slides, so you don't have to do that now. But basically, you'll be directed to a self-evaluation quiz that's on our website. So the quiz will ask you some questions about yourself, and you'll be able to figure out what roles might be suitable for you. So this is where we'd also recommend you try a programming language to see how you'd enjoy it. And we have also recommended some free self-paced courses with role-relevant coding courses on the page. We also recommend spending some time checking out the video playlists that we've put together. This might help you understand better the day-to-day work of any of these roles and the differences between them. Right, so now that you know a little bit more about the possible roles, I'm sure you're curious about the learners who are currently in our programs. So let me share with you a few learner profiles to give you an idea of who the people are who are enrolled in our programs. So here we have 3 examples. You can see that they are varied in age. We have people who are in their early 50s, all the way down to people who are actually in their 20s. So we do have a broad range of people. They have some people have over 25 years of non-tech work experience. Some people over 10 years. Some people, maybe are at an early stage of their career as well. I think one thing in common is that they're all looking for better opportunities for themselves. Okay, and if you're interested in some data about our learners, this is from the last 3 cohorts that we've enrolled. So you can see that about 65% of them come to us without a background in tech. So if you are in this webinar and you don't have a background, any tech background at all, you're in the right place. About 37% of our learners are above 40, and about 87% of them have not been in school for more than a year. So that means they haven't been enrolled in full-time study. And so they are going into a full-time study course for the first time in more than a year. Right, so once you've been decided what program you want to apply to and you've been accepted to the program, this is what your journey as a learner will look like. You'll start off with an orientation where you'll be able to meet some of your other classmates. You'll also meet your program manager and your learner success associate. So they're very key people from the Generation Singapore team who will be there to support you throughout your journey. After the orientation, you'll start your 3-month training bootcamp, and this is where you'll pick up your core technical skills that you need for the role that you've chosen. So the bootcamp is delivered by Temasek Polytechnic and will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 days a week. At the moment, all the classes are online because of COVID restrictions, but should we be able to return to the classroom, the classes will be a blend of in-person and online learning. Now, after the 3-month bootcamp, you'll embark on your apprenticeship at a partner company for about 6 months. And throughout the program, you'll also have support from a mentor who is an industry practitioner. So we'll also hear from some mentors later in this evening's session. So at the end of the program, for our learners who haven't found a full-time job by the end of their apprenticeship, the Generation Singapore team will also provide job placement assistance. Ideally, we want to make sure that at the end of the 9-month program, you'll graduate and be in full-time employment. Okay, so because the program is full-time and the bootcamp especially can be quite intensive, there are some expectations that we have of your commitment as a learner. So of course, attend all classes except if you have a medical reason not to. Be present and participate in all the class activities. Be active in your learning outside of classroom. So there are a lot of learners who actually spend their time on the weekends, not just to revise what they've learned during the bootcamp, but also to add on to their knowledge. And also own your job search process. So we have a shared end goal that we want to have you in full-time employment. And while our team will help you, we also want our learners to be proactive in their search for employment. All right. So because this is an SG United program, there are some eligibility criteria that you have to meet. These criteria are that you must be a Singaporean citizen or permanent resident, be 21 or above. If you graduated from an ITE, polytechnic, or university, ideally you should have graduated before 2019. And most importantly, you should not have attended an SGUS or SGUP program before. So when we evaluate applicants, we do look out for those without work or education experience in tech, those who are motivated to start a full-time job, and as well as anyone whose job has been affected by the pandemic, or people who fall into the category of PMETs, gig economy workers, and mothers returning to the workforce. For this program as well, the fees are $750. All of it is Skills Future claimable if you're a Singapore citizen. And you can also receive an allowance of up to $1,500 per month when you study. Okay, so I'll briefly go through the curriculum. I'll just let you have a look. This is what the curriculum will look like for a junior full stack developer. And this is what it will look like for cloud support and DevOps. So I think one thing you'll notice is that the behavioral skills and mindsets are the same, regardless of the role you actually choose. And that's because we focus not on just equipping learners with the technical skills, but also on the soft skills that will ensure you'll be able to perform your best on the first day of your job. Okay, so there are also a few other key components of the generation programs that sort of give us an edge, our Get Ready programs an edge. The first is apprenticeship. So this on-the-job training component provides an opportunity for you to apply the skills that you learn in the bootcamp while under the supervision and guidance of experts in the domain that you want to enter. And also during apprenticeship, you continue to earn the $1,500 monthly, up to $1,500 monthly allowance. The next pillar is mentorship. So trainees will receive mentorship support from our network of tech coaches. And with the coaches' experience, they'll be able to guide you outside your learning environment and how to cope with your professional challenges that you experience throughout your training period. And the last pillar is support. So as a generation learner, you'll have access to well-being support, employment support, and placement assistance. Our team of program managers and learner success associates will check in with you regularly to make sure that you're coping and you're doing well in this journey, your career change journey. So while we expect that most trainees be absorbed into full-time roles at the companies during apprenticeship, there are cases where they are not. And so this is where you would get additional placement support from Generation. So here are some of our employer partners, part of our employer network. One of our objectives is mentorship, as I mentioned. So it's to build a supportive and trusting environment for the learner during and after the bootcamp. And here are some examples of employment support. So we do have like workshops with industry experts, as well as employment-related workshops like LinkedIn workshops to make sure that you put your best foot forward in your job search. All right, so before you can experience the benefits of the program, you will need to submit an application. So I'll go through quickly an overview of our application process. So the length of the process actually depends on the program that you're applying for. For the junior full stack developer and cloud support program, I would say it would take you between 5 to 6 hours to complete. Now that sounds like a lot, but don't worry, you don't have to complete the application in one sitting. You can take a break between each section as well. Okay, so when you start your application, you'll register for an account, you'll answer some questions about yourself, as well as ensure that you are eligible for the program based on the criteria that I shared earlier. Then you'll be asked to review some key program information, acknowledge your understanding of the learner expectations and commitments. Now, for the Junior Full Stack Developer program, you'll be given about an hour to take a cognitive skills test. Then you'll need to complete a technical task. So you'll be asked to complete the first module of a Codecademy course called Introduction to HTML. And your task will be to create a simple web page based on what you've learned. and that should take you about 3 hours altogether to complete the course. So like I mentioned, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can come back to it. For the cloud support program, you'll also have about an hour to do a cognitive skills test. Then you do a Python programming language quiz. So before you attempt the quiz, you'll complete 2 lessons on the Udacity Introduction to Python Programming course. And then you'll have about an hour to complete the quiz. So for both programs, the courses that I mentioned, both from Udacity and Codecademy, are free. And you don't actually need to complete the full course to finish your application. But we do recommend that you take your time after you completed your application to finish these courses, as they'll be useful to you once you start in the bootcamp. Okay, so the final step of your application is to complete a recorded interview. We use the HireView platform. Essentially, you'll be given 4 questions to answer. You can take your time to prepare your answers and then record your response. So we understand that it can be nerve-wracking to do an interview, but that's the great part about being able to submit a recorded interview. You can take your time to prepare before you record your answers. And that should take you about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how long you use to prepare. You might also be invited for a live interview with the Generation Singapore team. Usually the session is for us to get to know you better and understand how our programs can help you in your career change journey. So like Prateek, our CEO, mentioned in his video earlier, we really want to look for people who are motivated in making a career change. And we also want to know why you chose a specific role and to hear more about the research that you've done in order to make sure that the role is the right one for you. Okay, so after you submit your application, you should hear from us within 8 to 10 working days. If you're shortlisted, you'll receive an email with instructions on how to proceed and make payment. So something important to note is that we evaluate and select candidates based on a first come, first served basis. And what this means is that it is possible that we stop accepting applications earlier than the application deadline because we've already reached capacity for our class sizes. Okay, so here are the dates for upcoming cohorts. We're currently accepting applications for the January 2022 cohort for both junior full stack developer and cloud support and DevOps. Our last cohort start dates for the programs will be on 31st March for the junior full stack developer and cloud support program, and on 21st February in case you are interested for the business intelligence and data analyst program. So if you're interested in joining any of our January 2022 cohorts, we encourage you to apply soon because classes are filling up, and we have about 3 weeks to the deadline, but we might be closing applications earlier. All right, so now I'll pass the time back to Leslie and she'll take us through the next section of our webinar. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Khadija. I hope that gave you quite good overview of the program. Okay, next slide. Just a quick overview here. These are just photos of our graduation. These are just screenshots of our learners posting their experiences in LinkedIn, a few learner testimonials as well. Yeah, next slide. I won't go through it. It's a lot of success stories and testimonials. You will be able to read it at your own time when we send you the slides. All right. Okay, so now we jump into our panel. Okay, so we are very, very, very grateful and privileged to have 4 amazing panelists this evening. So we have Sunil, he's a program lead in Microsoft. Calista, she's our alumni from first intake of Junior Full Stack Developer Program. We have Timothy, he's also an alumni for first intake of Cloud Support and DevOps Program. And we also have Jeremy, one of our great mentors, co-founder and CTO of StaffAny, and also became our employer partner. So for the next few minutes, you will hear their stories, their experiences, and after their sharing, we will have a time of Q&A. So I see a few questions here. The Q&A, just type in the chat, and as they share, you can also direct your question to them. So for example, a question for Calista as a learner, a question for Jeremy as a mentor. So just direct your question to them. Okay, so I'll now pass the time to Calista. Calista, over to you.
Thanks, Leslie. I'll need your help to enable the video. Could I do without that?
Okay, let me.
Thank you.
Are you not able to turn on your video?
Not yet actually. Not
How
sure
about-
whether the rest are able to.
Yeah, the same for me as well.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out in the settings. So while waiting, Calista, you can start first.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot, Leslie. And thank you for having me here today to share my experience. So I'm Calista from the first cohort of the Full Stack Developer Program. And I'm in my 5th month of the apprenticeship, which is also the 8th month of the program. So a little background about myself. I graduated with a degree in marketing, and I spent the last about 5 to 6 years as a marketer and a project lead. So I spearheaded and oversee a couple of projects in the sports events industry and also advertising industry. So you may be thinking like, what got me here, right? So in my last employment, I actually had the opportunity to spearhead a project as the lead to develop an application in the social commerce space. So I had the opportunity to work really closely with a team of developers. And through that journey, developing the application really sparked my interest in programming because, when I work very closely with the developers, I realized a lot about the functionalities, how do we do this, how do we code this, etc. So I realized that, there are a lot of times where I didn't really understand a lot of terms they were using, or how do I even code this particular function out. So that really sparked my interest in programming and wanting to learn and understand the basic knowledge and skills, so to be able to better perform in my role as a project lead. So, along the way, I also personally, I thought to myself, how do I stand out as a marketer? Like what makes me unique, and how else can I value add to the company? So I saw the trend and the opportunities in the tech industry. So I decided to take the leap of faith to make the career switch, and that's why I'm here today also. So I didn't intend to be like a full stack developer, but I saw it more that like with this knowledge and skill, it will really help me to pursue the path of more towards a project manager. Is the function already working? Okay, great, cool, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so so where did I left off? Okay, so that's why I decided to make that career switch, and I saw this program offered by Generations, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have any tech background. Can I pass the test? So, but I decided to just go for it, try it, and yeah, I actually got in, and I was really, really happy. So that brought me to the bootcamp. So as earlier on, they're showing that the bootcamp is over a span of 3 months. So the bootcamp was I would say, it was a really fulfilling journey. But of course, the learning curve was pretty steep for me, I would say. But there were a lot of support given, amazing lecturer, and support given in terms of like what Generations are sharing earlier on. They have resources available, for example, LinkedIn Learning, Code Academy. I also have a Generations mentor attached to me. So they're all industries experts, and my mentor personally, she played a really huge role in my journey, from the bootcamp, and securing apprenticeship, weighing out, giving me insights of the industry, weighing out, hey, which company or role will be more suitable for me, and helping me even to get through the interviews and all that, to share me what employers are looking for. So I'm very happy to share that, I got my first choice. So out of the 3 choices, I had an opportunity to go for interviews, and I got my first choice. And that's also where I am today in my apprenticeship company. And so a little bit, so moving on to my apprenticeship journey, it's over a span of 6 months, and I'm in my 5th month. So I'll say that it's a very enriching journey for me, both professionally and personally, because I learned a lot on the job. With being able to apply what I learned in the bootcamp to real life on the job experience, real projects also. So in my first week, I was actually assigned to an existing project, and I feel that personally it shows I'm able to experience the day-to-day of a full stack developer, and that really makes a lot of difference compared to just being the bootcamp learning. Yeah, so I get to apply what I learn and even more from that. Yeah, extend from that. And so during my apprenticeship, my mentor also played a huge role in helping me to navigate, my first study days, my first 60 days, 90 days. Along the way, when I face any challenges, I seek her help, her advice on how do I maneuver through this, or how do I overcome this? Yeah, be it mindset and etc. So I think Generations also has a very good structured program in terms of the, what do you call it? During the bootcamp, you all will cover the behavioral mindset skill. I think that's really good because, for example, like growth mindset, that really stood, that really, I held on to that mindset, in my apprenticeship to tell myself that, the growth mindset is very, very important. Yeah, so I'm also very happy to share that I just got offered by my apprenticeship company a full-time employment. So I'll be starting next month, so a month earlier before the apprenticeship ends. Yeah. So yes, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be more than happy to share my experience more. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Callista. That's awesome. And congratulations again for getting the offer. Amazing. Thank you. Okay, so now we call on Jeremy.
Nice. Hi, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Yep. Okay, all right, awesome. Yeah, I think the last time I did this, there was an audio issue. Just want to make sure. Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy. I'm the CTO and co-founder of StaffAny. As I mentioned earlier, it's not my first time here. For some reason, the first time wasn't bad enough, so they invited me back to screw it up again. But okay, so I hope that you guys can, through my 5 minutes of sharing, I can help to share a little bit more about the industry and my mentorship experience, as well as now my experience as employment partner, right, of Generation in this program. So a little bit about me first, because like, who am I and why do you care? My name is Jeremy, right? The company that I founded with a bunch of friends is called StaffAny, and it's basically a workforce management solution that helps with scheduling, attendance, and timesheets. Basically, we help F&B, cafes, restaurants to schedule their workers, and then the workers will clock in on the app, and then we help to automatically calculate all the hours. So it helps to alleviate a lot of the manual processes involved with that whole system, right? I'm the CTO, so I'm basically the person in charge of the engineering and the technical department. So I'm in charge of all the technical decisions, including how to build our application infrastructure, how features should be designed, things like that, as well as the hiring and the management of engineers. So that means like making sure they're happy, making sure they're motivated, but also making sure they grow and they are hitting their targets, and well, not really targets, but growing and fulfilling what they want out of their career. So that's a little bit about who I am. The industry, so a little bit about the industry is basically tech is exploding, right? I don't think you have to look very far to see that, right? The biggest companies right now in the world are tech companies, right? And even if we look at the other end of the scale, smaller tech companies grows super quickly, and it's part of how technology is such a key enabler for efficiency and better productivity and better value, right? But beyond just sort of tech first companies, the whole world is moving to tech. Like even companies that are not tech first are gradually moving into tech, right? They're either building out in-house tech functions, or they're adopting more tech in order to not fall behind. Case in point is all our customers, right? The F&B chains that we're talking about, they're adopting StaffAny as a solution so that they don't fall behind, right? So that's my 2 cents about the industry, and like you won't really go wrong basically getting this the skills involved to succeed in the tech industry. Now, in my experience, a little bit about my experience as a mentor. So I mentored 2 guys, Chongkai and Dallin, and I worked with them through their long journey through the bootcamp and the apprenticeship, and I saw them go from very raw and very uncertain to slightly less raw and slightly less uncertain, but I helped them find their feet in the industry, and it was also great learning for me as well. Like it's very fulfilling to see them, and I think they both have full-time. They've both found full-time employment at this point. So, but it was a great journey with them to help them like allay their concerns, talk about technical decisions, talk about technical questions, shed light on the business side, because sometimes you'll be like, why is the business doing this, right? And I'll be able to maybe talk about why the company might have done something, help them with their interview processes, and generally talk about the industry and stuff. But yeah, I had such a great experience working with them and with the Generation team in general that I decided to bring my company on board as well as an employer. And we have one person now, a lady called Terry. So she's working. Her apprenticeship is with us at StaffAny right now, and she's fitting in great. She's having a great time. Yeah, so that's my 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me at the Q&A later, I think. So back to you, Leslie.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. It's not true that he messed up. He's very committed and dedicated to Generation and employer partners. If any one of you here might become a learner, Jeremy might be also your future employer. Who knows? Thank you, Jeremy. And congratulations also to your mentees. I'm sure they also very grateful for your support for them. All right. So now let's call on Timothy, our Intake 1 alumni from Cloud Support. So for some of you here, you may be looking at the Cloud Support job check. So let's hear from Tiffany. Over to you, Timothy.
Hi, thanks Generation for having me, and I see a very familiar face. I really have to say this. Hi, Mr. Mathur, how are you? Mr. Mathur is my mentor. He's the man who guides me through the forest, and end up I have been employed there, whichever. So yeah, I started off like I think everyone in front of you guys, just like you, puzzled at one point. I was running businesses for 15 years, and every day was fighting fire and making more money. That's all. So I was actually engineering trained, but never have a chance to practice. And to the point that when COVID came, everything standstills and stopped. And that's where when I start to think that, hey, what am I doing next? And Microsoft and Generation came up with this excellent initiative that for cloud support and DevOps, and I thought, why wait and why not now? And I borrow one of Calista sharing was a leap of faith and jumped. And I can reassure you guys that your anxiety, the future that you see is maybe it's not that bright, but once you jump into Generation's course, you are in good hands, in really good hands. From the lessons that you're going through, the cohorts, the teammates that you are having is going to be incredible. the support from your teammates, the support from your mentor, the support from everyone is so holistic. It's just so incredible, and they make sure that you come in without knowing how to spell Python, and when you leave, you can build a program and spell Python for you. They'll make sure that you can do that. So, well, you made a good choice coming here and listening. And for me is I've got a brilliant mentor, Mr. Mathur. He's like always few steps before me. He knows what's going to happen, so he's always prepping me during my before the apprenticeship. What will I face? How would I make myself stand out? How would the employer take notice of you? And when I went into the apprenticeship, he would give me the foresight of what I would expect, what to see, what is going to happen. And I would just fold my arms and, okay, after 1 week, oh yes, see, this happened, and then that happened, and things just unfold in front of my eyes. So I wouldn't say I'm fortunate, but I'm very fortunate and happy that I landed my full-time employment, and I don't think I regret joining tech, because once you made up your mind, guys, just give all you can, and you're gonna do great, man. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. So back to you, Leslie.
Awesome. Thank you, Timothy. Very, very inspiring, and congratulations once again. Okay, and let's call your guide, the one who guided you through the forest. Our one and only mentor, Sunil. Yes, Sunil, over to you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I think, Timothy, thanks for those nice words. Yeah, I was not aware that it benefited you so much. I'm happy to hear that. So thanks for that. So let me just give you a little bit background about myself. Not background of myself as such, but the place I work and how it relates to what we are talking about today. So I'm working in the cloud industry for the last around 12, 13 years. I mean, it was a time when it had just started, the cloud, and I was lucky enough to get involved in one of the earlier projects, which gave me a good, rich experience to do that. And today, as you saw, I'm working with Microsoft, and the job we do is slightly different from what you might be seeing it in the front end, that the cloud and all. So the team which I work for, we build the data centers where you run Azure, Exchange servers, Bing, Xbox, and all those products which you see on the cloud offered by Microsoft. So it's a slightly different kind of a thing, but yeah, it's one of the most critical pieces where you can host all your cloud infrastructure. Now, what I can tell you first from the industry perspective, I think earlier Jeremy also shared that the industry is exploding big time. Now, I'm on the other side, on the supply side, so I can tell you from that, whatever we put in the market is getting used up at a very, very fast pace. So today there is a shortage of talented resources, people with the right knowledge, training, the other kind of resources like, for example, the data centers, or how much compute capacity you can use, how much storage you can use. And now you'll be amazed to hear that we are hitting the other extreme. That means the power which we require to run the data centers are falling short. So many countries are saying we don't have enough power. So that's why we are doing a lot of initiatives on the sustainable power. That means alternate power sources. So later I will be speaking in a seminar next month, where we'll be talking about the sustainability initiatives which we are taking. So, I mean, along with the business also comes a lot of responsibility. So we have to be careful about that. So that's the industry perspective I wanted to give you. Then coming to the generation piece of the whole thing. So I had a opportunity to work with Tim and Dave, two of the guys, and I was really happy. And one thing which really made me so excited about them, their passion for technology, even if they were not coming from the technology side, was pretty high. As I think most of you will be very apprehensive whether you should go for it or not, whether it will work for you or not. And I think the same way Tim and Dave also started the same. And as they went in the program, the passion kept on increasing day by day. They got so engrossed in learning the technology and all that. And sometimes I had to slow them down that, okay, guys, in 3-4 months, it's not the end of the world, and you cannot learn everything in 3 months. So there is so much to learn and so much to do. And sooner or later, all of you will discover and find your own, golden. There's so much to do, so many areas, so many technologies, so facets which generation will expose you to. You will figure out something which interests you more, and then you can always go deep in that. The other thing which I was stressing on with Timothy and Dave, two things which you should keep in mind is you are making a mid-career switch. So you are not a fresher. So sometimes in your mind, you might think I'm a fresher. But no, you have spent 15 years in the industry. You have knowledge, you have experience. Make use of that also in your journey with generation. So use that to supplement what you know and grow yourself as a person and personality. Don't discount all what you have done in the past. It will never happen. When the employer takes you, you are a complete package. Whatever experience you have and what you have learned in generation, that's what you present to the employer. So don't discount what you already have. The second focus, which I think the speakers previously also mentioned, IT is an enabler. So it enables something to happen. By itself, it doesn't help you. Like today, use IT for banking, for retail, and for F&B, we heard just now. But at the end of the day, it has to enable something in the real life to make it happen. It has to make your life easy, either in your banking or in your maybe buying some products or buying groceries. You go to one of those grocery sites, but at the end of the day, you want the physical stuff to be delivered to you. So always keep that focus that what you are doing through all these IT initiatives is enabling something bigger in the real life, right? So that business perspective is very, very important to keep in mind. I think if you gel all these things together, it will be a fruitful journey. And yeah, very happy to be working with Generation. And yeah, if you guys come on board, definitely we'll be happy to talk more. Yeah. So I think my 5 minutes are over. So to you, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Sunil.
Most welcome. I think a lot of people have questions, so let's give a opportunity.
There's a lot of golden wisdom that you have shared there. I was also taking notes. Don't discount what you already have. You have such great experience, transferable skills that you present to your employer. IT is just an enabler. And I like what you shared really about the passion. And that's what is really important when you make a career switch, that fire in the belly, that kind. Yeah, thank you so much, Sunil. So before we jump into the questions, so I see some are being already answered by Hushan and Hadija. So I have a question for the panelists. So we have here one learner, one mentor from cloud, one mentor and learner in full stack. So if I am not sure, I know that I want to go to tech industry, but I'm not sure, should I go to cloud? Should I go to full stack developer, software developer? What would you advise for me to know, to do, for me to realize which one is really good for me? I remember Jeremy, you shared when we interviewed him before, if you're, you love puzzles or something like that, probably you're good at, you'll be excelling in full stack developer. So anyone wants to answer from the panelists? That's for everyone.
Well, okay. Since Leslie, you used the thing I said before, maybe I'll just expand on that a bit. So I don't think it's necessarily limited to full stack development. Honestly, that could probably apply in some aspect to cloud support and DevOps as well. I think the biggest barrier to people picking either, honestly, is probably whether you can think like a computer, whether you can think like a programmer. I think that might be one of the bigger aspects. And then there are also other things like, can you sit in front of a screen all day for a job? Yeah, but I think the biggest barrier is whether or not you'll be good at that aspect, the computer part, right? Whether you can code. Yeah, I think a good test for that is whether you enjoy solving puzzles, because as Sunil, as Mr. Mathur said, if you have the passion, right? If you enjoy the process of the problem solving, if you enjoy the process of the puzzles, it will bring you through it, right? You'll get better at it eventually over time. You'll enjoy it, enjoy the process, every step of it, and it won't feel like work, right? I mean, it will still feel a little bit like work at the end, but of course, it won't feel as much like work, and you'll really enjoy the process. Yeah. Okay, maybe more concrete advice for specifically cloud support and DevOps versus full stack web development. It is going to depend a lot on the specific situation. I think full stack web development is more geared towards creation, like you're creating things from scratch. Cloud support and DevOps tends to be playing more of a support role, where you're either maintaining something and keeping it online, or maybe you're building internal tooling to help your internal teams perform better or something. That like a very, very gross, very general description of those two. So maybe if you like creating stuff, you can go for web development, or if you like supporting, being the supporting part of the supporting cast, or you like engaging with people more, maybe the cloud support role is more for you.
Cool, thank you, Jeremy. Anyone else wants to share on that? Oh, no? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think I was going to say the same thing what Jeremy said. So, and I'm not the expert in that. So good advice there from Jeremy. Yeah.
Awesome. And then there's also a question here, like, what if after the 9 months bootcamp and then apprenticeship, and then I realize, oh, it's not for me? Someone asked. Yeah, Wishan wants to answer the question.
Yeah, so we hope that doesn't happen, that before you actually join the program, you know that this is where you want to go, and that even if it's not a particular role, that tech is where you want to end up. But if it really does happen, we hope you pursue your career, you find out what is your passion, and yeah, that you go and pursue it.
Okay, and there's also a question, there's only one. Oh, yeah, Calista, you want to share something?
Yeah, could I add on?
Go ahead.
So personally, I think earlier on I was sharing that coming into this program, I was clear that I don't think I want to be a full stack developer. I don't really think I excel fully as a full stack developer, because like what Jeremy said, can you sit there in front of a computer like 24/7? Okay, I mean you're 9 to 5, right? So I don't really see myself in like a full stack developer. I like talking to people, I like connecting, etc. So I knew quite clearly that I kind of want to continue pursuing the project manager or project lead kind of role. So during my interview, I also checked that with the interviewer, and I went into my apprenticeship company as a junior full stack developer. So the first 2 months was really purely as a junior full stack developer, coding the application from scratch. But along the way, so because I shared during the interview that I'm more keen to pursue the project manager or project lead kind of role. So I think my supervisor also knew that, because I also kept him, we had monthly check-ins. Yeah, so I also did raise about this and directions. We spoke about direction, what's his expectation, etc. So in DevOps, my 3rd month, he actually gave me more opportunities towards the business side of things also. So I'm now kind of helming a technical BA role, which is something, technical business analyst role. And it's really more of what I prefer doing and I enjoy doing and I excel better at also. So, adding my tech skills that I had and knowledge that I learned. Of course, I'm still learning along the way right now. And my past experiences, 5 to 6 years of experiences, like what one of our mentors shared earlier, that your past experiences, you're not starting out from scratch. You have something to bring to the company, soft skills, transferable skills, etc. So yeah, I'm happy to share that it doesn't mean that. So earlier the question was, maybe after my 9 months, I realized that, hey, this is not for me. I think if you perform well in the company, there may be opportunities, you can explore different roles within that company. Yeah, so it's not like it's the end kind of thing. Yeah, it's not like you have wasted 9 months.
Awesome. Thank you. It's never really a waste. Yeah, so Wishan wants to answer why we only have 1 cohort left for our business intelligence program.
Yeah, so there's one cohort left because a lot of the things that we do at Generation are the first thing that we always do, right? Part of our methodology that Leslie mentioned is we go to employers first. So only if we know that there are jobs out there, then we run the program. So we have been running the data engineer programs right now for like 3 cohorts. And unfortunately, the employers seem to be looking for the 2 other roles a lot more. So with cloud and for full stack, that's where the greater demand is. But of course, things may change, right? Because we know in tech, everything's very agile. If it does change, and then we'll go with the market forces, then we'll run more cohorts with that.
Thanks, Rishan. And also combine 2 questions a bit similar here. Are they going to be given projects or exams during the bootcamp? And what would happen if like they fail a module? Or are we still grasping the concepts?
So we don't have what they call summative kind of assessment. In other words, there isn't that one exam. In fact, there are no exams. So it's not a pass-fail competency kind of a course. So we really want to nurture you. We really want to support you. There will be modules that are built in, and then there'll be people to, who will be helping you along the way to make sure that you skill up. And, in the end, even after the 3 months, it's not the end of the learning. You will continue learning and deepening the skills beyond the 3 months. So that's just a little bit of a taster before you go on to learn even more things.
Right. And am I able to stay in my current full-time job while having the course, while staying committed to full-time study, Rishan?
Yeah, that would be really, really challenging because I'm sure Callista and Tiffany will tell you it's a very, very intense course for the 3 months. It's full-time, and I know for many of them, they put in hours beyond the 9 to 5. So it's very intense. We have some people who do part-time work, but even so, that's a little bit of a struggle. So we don't recommend it, doing both full-time work and the full-time studies, because it will only mean that you're doing your full-time work during your, so-called like supposedly sleeping hours.
Yeah, it must be really tough. And for next question, anyone from the panelists can also answer this. Are my skills transferable from one program to another? Like I may be studying full stack, but there are skills transferable to data or cloud. And if we can also add into that question for the cloud program, maybe Timothy or Sunil may answer. Understand we'll be learning Azure. Would we be exposing also to AWS or Google?
Maybe I'll start first. I mean, for cloud is that be it Azure or AWS or GCP or Alibaba is still cloud, and it's just that the functions are there, the storage, the virtual machines, the load balancers. It's just different companies they like to use a different way of naming it. So for us with Generation is that we are doing Azure, and I think Azure is more of I wouldn't say a latecomer, but they improvise a lot from AWS. So it's actually the skills is transferable between all the different clouds. It's more like you know one, you know how to deploy in one, more or less. You are good with the others. It's just that the naming convention you need to maybe do some read up on that.
Okay, and the skills transferable from one program to another, like someone will be in one program full stack and then transferable to data or cloud. Anyone wants to answer that as well?
If no one, then I continue. Because for my apprenticeship with if may I share is with Standard Chartered Bank, and the very first day they put us in the boot camp again. After we leave Generation Bootcamp, we go into Standard Chartered Bootcamp, and it's a 1-month bootcamp. And we work as a team with full stack business analysis at the time was business analysis and the cloud and DevOps. So we actually work as a team to complete a website, to build a website for credit card onboarding. So in the bootcamp, the full stack, we have to learn cloud, we have to learn DevOps, we have to learn how to deploy your software out in the cloud. And cloudies will have to learn full stack programming, React.js, and other stuff. And business analysis will have to know as well. So it's, I mean, unless you go into specialize in something, but it's good that you know some other things that if you're a full stack developer, but you know a little bit about DevOps, the process, it helps in your workflow as well. And for cloud, if you know some programming language like React.js it helps with your communication with the people you work with the team that you work with, because wherever you go, you work as a team. So the team comprises of many specialties, many specialists from all fields. So knowing of some, it actually helps with your work, and you will, believe me, you will want to know more about others, so to make life easier for yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, Timothy. So I see a few more questions here. So Jeremy is already answering the question about business intelligence. Ben, for these cases of appeal, just send us an email and we'll reply to you separately. Okay, Ben? Is apprenticeship offered only at 7 to 8 partners listed earlier? Vishen, you want to answer that? Is the apprenticeship offered only at?
Yeah, so in actual fact, right now, we have about close to 40 over companies in our network, and with the 40 over companies, of course, they have different hiring volumes and of course for different roles as well.
Great, thank you. And maybe for Callista and Timothy as well, is 3 months enough time to learn? I saw another program at 6 months.
For sure, I would say that it's not enough, but it's a never-ending learning process or journey. So even during my apprenticeship, I'm constantly learning. So we have a 2-hour self-learning time slot, but of course, work still comes first. If there is work to complete, right, there is a deadline. But otherwise, there's every day there's 2 hours time slot for you to do your self-learning. And I think it's along the way with the on-the-job experience, you will also be able to direct your learning, not just, like where do you start learning? What do you learn, right? There's so many languages, so many things to learn out there. So I think that the on-the-job experience also allows you to direct where your learning should go, or maybe even your interests, at your own time.
Yes, learning doesn't stop within 3 months. Thanks, Calista. Oh, sorry, there's a question from Alex. There's no Python module for the junior full stack developer. Anyone wants to answer about the Python module?
Oh, sorry, Calista, go ahead.
Go ahead. So during the program, we didn't have the Python module language covered. So I'm not sure whether for future batches will there be,
So maybe I can give my 2 cents here. So obviously I'm not the one who created the module, I'm not in charge of the curriculum. I can only speculate. But the thing is that the 3-month timeline is already packed to the gills. The learners are struggling to retain stuff. And Python is, while it's a great technology, it's like you already have to learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Java, React, oh my God, all these other things within 3 months, and you're starting from zero. You want to learn one more, right? It's just a game of like, what do you optimize for, right? Like at the end of the day, you gotta cut some of the program. And Python is a great language for scripting, and it's a great language for data analysis, and it's also a great language for web development. But for web development, it's playing a little bit of a second fiddle to the other languages that are already in the course.
Great, thank you. And someone said, oh, he's been learning Python from YouTube, but don't know what to expect in the bootcamp. How do you keep yourself from not getting overwhelmed? Do you get overwhelmed every day?
I mean, if you try not to get yourself overwhelmed, switch off your handphone at 5 o'clock, nobody can find you.
Okay.
For me, I was pretty overwhelmed, I would say, honestly. But I told myself to take it step at a time. It can be very overwhelming when you put all the languages like what Jeremy said, that's HTML, CSS, and everything coming into JavaScript. I'm like, oh no, I really struggled to grasp the concepts, but like when I really take one step at a time to understand each concept, that really helped me to, better build the foundation on, so that I'll be able to expand upon the different languages, and so don't worry.
Okay, thank you, Calista. Maybe we'll just wrap up with the last two questions for the interest of time. It's 8:37. Thank you for those who stayed back, and maybe you just need a few more minutes later as a closing, and before I pass the time to Hadija. So there's a question here. So that's shifting towards what the industry need and open up a course. Will it make student generation and not get the tip-top training? And to the generation team, what makes this bootcamp better compared to the other bootcamp in Singapore? What's our unique selling proposition? Maybe I'll let Huishan answer this question, which is, can you also reinforce what I shared about the impact model methodology that we have?
Right. So I think actually, particularly in that video, he mentioned a few things, but I think the two main things that comes to me, number one, is the employer network that we have. So we have that vast employer network that we will, definitely try to get you into an apprenticeship. And not only that, after the apprenticeship, for us at Generation, this is what we do. It is our vision, it is our mission, it is to help people to launch careers. So it is our vision and mission to help you with placement support in any way that we can. So one of the things that I've also mentioned is that we have employment essentials that's built into our bootcamp. Things like how to write a resume, how to start a LinkedIn profile, how to make sure that you practice for interviews, and then we have people who are available to coach you for that. So all these things are built in. The second big thing that was mentioned is mentorship. So as you have heard from Sunil as well as for Timothy, that mentorship in terms of the relationships, it's gold. The mentors are there to help you to journey from bootcamp right up to after apprenticeship, and even when you start to launch your careers, just to make sure that you have someone to handhold you and someone that's a sounding board for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Huishan and our panelists. Amazing questions, very insightful answers. I'll pass the time to Hadija now.
Great, thanks so much, everyone. Thank you especially to our panelists. I've just dropped a note in the chat. Feel free to send us an email at getreadysg@generation.org. There's also a link to feedback that you could give for today's session. And we will be following up with an email after this with the recording and the slides from today's session. So if you have any questions, if you think of any questions in the next couple of days, do feel free to just drop us an email.
So that's feedback. So we can give maybe a 1 or 2 minutes. Can we also share the QR code? So on some of you would want to scan. All right. And we're also in social media. Just follow us in Generation Singapore. We're in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, where we'll post our updates. Okay, so right, so it's 8:40. We're sorry we extended for extra 10 minutes to our panelists, Timothy, Calista, Sunil, and Jeremy. Thank you so much. We're really grateful for your time. Okay, so yeah, don't forget to share the feedback.
Yeah, thank you. All the best.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me back as well.
Jeremy did not mess up, okay? You are a very dedicated mentor and employer partner. Thank you so much. Okay, a few more sending feedback. All right. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Ben. Those who have special questions on their eligibility or appeals, just drop us an email and we'll address that separately. Okay. And wait for the recording and the slides that will be emailed to you. Thank you, Priscilla. We hope to see your applications. And remember, like what Hadija shared, even if our application is closing on the 7th December, once we fill up the slots, we may have to close the deadline. So just send your applications early when you have already decided. So Jack, the application link, it will be sent in the email. That's great. I hope that you will send your application. Awesome. Okay. All right, so you can now, once you're done, you can just leave the meeting and yeah, Looking forward to see your applications. Bye, Tommy. Okay, I think it's just us. Okay, the panelists already left. I was able to take a photo. Never mind. I'll just screenshot from the recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, good job, Hadija.
Right.
Yay.
Thank you, both.
Thanks,
Thank you, ladies.
ladies. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. I was telling Hadija, I was like, I'm so paranoid that question about the case of LKM. Someone asked the exact his case.
Oh.
What if I pass all the blah blah blah, but due to unforeseen circumstances,
Rupa,
can I
she
join the
asked the
next
same
cohort?
question.
Oh, I didn't see the question.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, maybe we're just paranoid.
I hope he wasn't in here under like a different name or something.
Yeah, like a pseudonym, right? And then like, yeah. Sorry. Okay, rest well.
Thank you, rest well.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.